TT Meets TT, episode 14, Drew's Delightful Quattro Sport.
Hi all, Andy here and welcome back for episode 14 of TT Meets TT. This week is a rather special car as I had the pleasure in welcoming Drew and his Mauritius Blue 2006 Audi TT Quattro Sport to the garden. I'm sure many of you know that the Quattro Sport is seen as the pinnacle of the Mark 1 turbo generation cars, and it also includes many of the styling features from the V6. This particular car is a fantastic specimen and it has been well cared for by Drew. It's totally unmodified and exactly the same as when it rolled off the production line 16 years ago. If you have missed any previous episodes of TT Meets TT, then please do go and check my back catalogue of previous episodes. But for now, let's take a look at this great car. So I'm here today with Drew and his fabulous Quattro Sport. Now you don't see many of these on the road anymore. In fact, I think there was it 1100 originally?
1165.
1165 of these cars originally. So this would be classed as your rare or holy grail of the Audi TT Mark 1. So Drew, how long have you owned the car for?
About 3 years.
And what's the history like on it?
Good. Full service history. 84,000 miles. Cam belt's just done. Pretty much everything's up to date.
Completely standard?
Absolutely
bog standard, yeah. And I think if you've got a car like a Quattro Sport, that's the way to keep it. Because if you're looking at it as an investment, which I would say most of these cars now are going to be, the last thing you want to do is fiddle with perfection. So that's a fair assumption?
Yeah, I think, like we said, if I was going to tinker with it, I'd probably get a 225 and do some really nice mods and stuff.
This is definitely a car to leave it well alone, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
And I know it's in Mauritius Blue.
Well, got to be done, isn't it?
What a great colour for a car. Now I've noticed that at various meets you often see like 1 or 2 Quattro Sports, no more than that. And it's surprising that when you see it in the flesh how good these cars really look. After seeing several cars recently with the Quattro Sport looking features that have been added, such as the colour coded Phantom Black grille and also Phantom Black roof and the Phantom Black mirrors, it's really nice to see a real one in the flesh, and you can really see how the fleck in the black paint and the blue paint really complement each other.
So Drew, you mentioned to me that you've also owned a 225, so could you run through me some of the differences you feel between a 225 and this great Quattro Sport?
This kind of feels a bit tighter. I don't know whether that's contact points are all obviously Alcantara, so it's a little bit, just feels that bit different. Car feels a lot firmer, a little bit quicker, but other than that, pretty similar. Obviously, you're a bit more nervous when you're driving it. You don't want to, have an accident in it or hit a curb. But other than that,
so when you say firmer, do you mean from a suspension perspective, handling perspective?
Yeah, suspension, handling's tighter. Yeah, handling's much better. But you don't move in the seat. That's the other thing. It's so. My old one, I did find I was moving around in the leather seats a little bit. These,
So let's have a look at those great seats in these cars. So on the Quattro Sport, you don't have the bog standard seats. You have these fabulous colour coded as well. I like to point out the back of the seat is colour coded. Are these classed as pole positions?
Yeah,
classed the pole position.
Yeah.
So I've seen a couple of sets of pole positions with different stitching on them. There's like a diamond stitching as well, but it's the same shaped seat. And it's interesting to see that I didn't realise that all of this is just velcroed in. So you think all that money for a Quattro Sport and your seats held together with velcro. Well, looking back inside the interior, one thing that you'll see that's different to a 225 and even a 3.2 is the gear knob. So it's got like is it Alcantara gear knob, I think it must be? Yep. Or, yeah, Alcantara handbrake as well. So there's some really nice features. Whether that will wear quite badly over the years, I don't know. The Alcantara seats, they tend to go a little bit bobbly. I've got experience of that. If we move to the boot, obviously it's got the rear seat delete, but a factory rear seat delete. An aftermarket with the fire extinguisher in place. And the rear compartment is very much like the 3.2. It's identical interior to mine. The only difference I'd say between mine and this one, obviously mine's got the sat nav over here. Interesting to see that panel that hasn't got it. So again, it's a topic that's come up before. But again, you've got the the lift up section, no spare wheel as always. And the rear of the seats are colour coded as we've mentioned. Hopefully the camera is picking that up. Cup holder as always good to see a cup holder. And something to notice here, the insert of the boot liner here, where the boot lid will shut, I guess the shut line, is actually the same phantom black as the roof. I think the wheels really stand out on the Quattro Sport, and it's great to see a set of standard Quattro Sport wheels, but they do look amazing. They're so deep dish. One thing Drew's just pointed out to me is, looking at those alloys, the deep dish is a lot less on the front wheel. So if you look, the wheel is less offset on the front, so there's less distance between the hub and the edge of the rim. But on the back wheel, it's really quite deep. I'm not sure if the camera is picking it up, but there's a real deep dish difference there. Red calipers I noticed as well. I think they must come out the factory red, do they?
Yeah.
Interesting, the 3.2's got red calipers, but I think they've been painted. The sun's catching that. I don't know if the camera's picking it up, but it's really catching the rings today. So looking at the car as you've got it today, where do you see it 5 years from now? In your hands still?
In my hands.
Yep.
In hopefully as good a condition.
Completely standard as we
Yeah,
said.
completely standard. I know I'm going to have to, obviously going to spend however much money keeping it up to scratch and bits and bobs. But yeah, if I could keep it looking like this in 5 years, happy days.
So what would you say has been your biggest expenditure on the car since you've owned it? What are the jobs that you've had done?
Yeah, the first service, I asked them to check everything out, and it was a lot of money. It was yeah, well into four figures, a few times over. Cam belt, all the gaskets, thermostat, loads of stuff in the engine to bring it up to scratch. 2 discs, a caliper, front pads, calipers, brake lines, bushes, quite a lot of stuff.
All
So,
pickup pipe?
I think that was picked up.
Okay.
I'm starting to gister about that now.
I was going to
No,
say...
but that is, I've got to double check that. Someone else mentioned that the other day. I think it was picked up. I might get it done again on the next
Neither
service.
of mine have been done, but it is a job that I need to do, and I know that seems to be a popular topic at the moment.
It
is do your pickup pipe.
Yeah.
Obviously, being of a certain age now,
Yeah.
although we keep the fluids nice and clean, you don't know what else has fallen in there over the years, I guess.
Yeah.
Can we pop the bonnet and take a look under the
Yeah,
bonnet? So I think when we look under this bonnet, we're not going to see an awful lot different to a 225.
You're not wrong.
So there you go, under the bonnet, it's very, very standard. Now obviously it's a standard car anyway, but there's no whiz-bang parts on a Quattro Sport. I think it's, although it's tuned slightly differently, I believe, to get you a bit more,
a bit more
grunt out of it.
It's different engine code, so yeah, different, obviously tuning slightly different. Gearbox ratios apparently slightly different.
That's the thing, we're looking here, you know, we've got the charge pipe, the same as, you know, we've got the airbox, the same as, it's the same looking engine.
No battery.
No battery though, notice under here. So the battery, again, is like the 3.2, it's in the boot. They still look nice though. And no matter how many engines I look at under the bonnet, I look at it and I think it's a real comforting feeling to know how familiar that is.
It is, yeah.
So what would you say, off the top of your head, are the differences between the Quattro Sport and the 225 parts wise? Now we know there is the battery in the boot is like the 3.2, but what else is different? Obviously we've got the grills.
Exhaust is different, grills.
Yep.
Well, if we start at the front,
So yeah, let's have a let's walk us through it.
I'm probably going to miss some of this. There's probably loads of people who are going to say, no, you're missing loads. So 3.2 V6 bumper.
Yep.
Like you said, obviously
Phantom black.
Phantom black, gloss black.
Yep.
On the, you know, and same with the wing mirrors. Wheels staggered, which you've already mentioned. The only thing also, spats on the back.
I've noticed those, yeah, so that is standard, is that comes on the Quattro
Standard on the
Sport?
Quattro
Standard.
Sport.
Let's look at those spats there.
Really hard to get, but I think there's a couple of places that
Yeah, you can buy them aftermarket,
Yeah,
I've noticed,
I think,
but obviously not a genuine part.
No, but I think you can get them sprayed up and stuff. Obviously then the roof black.
Yeah, you can see that.
V6 spoiler extension, but in the gloss black.
And again, that is painted, which is different to the 3.2.
Black tips on the exhaust.
Oh, okay, I've not noticed that.
Yeah, black chrome tips on the exhaust. And obviously the valance is phantom black again. So externally, they're kind of the...
Yeah, obviously internally we talked about that we've got the Alcantara, we've got the pole positions, we've got the rear seat delete.
Everything. Glove box has got...
I did see that earlier, it's got the little badge.
Quattro Sport on the glove box. And then obviously suspension.
Bigger brakes, do we think?
No, this is the whole Achilles heel of the car, is the brakes. Personally, I think they're fine, because I drive quite steady. I'm quite a steady driver. If you're a spirited driver or you're going to use it on a track, that is the weak point of the car. Other than that, I think I've covered most of the bits.
We mentioned about the car, and when you take this car to meetings, and we said, do you get mobbed by people? Because I would imagine TT enthusiasts are going to come flocking to this great car.
No,
but you seem to think that it just blends in a little bit.
At the end of the day, it's a TT, and I think unless you're a real TT nut, and you know, like yourself, you know it's Quattro Sport and stuff. I think generally people think it's a TT, which is fine. It is what it is, you know. It's more the driving of the thing. It's a lovely drive.
It's the experience. I mean, I've sat in those seats, and it feels like you're being hugged.
You do go around a corner nice and fast. You are pinned. When you see adverts for the Quattro Sport, everybody wants the pole position seats, and I can kind of see it, you know, because I think the comfort seats were a no-cost option. Could have had the comfort seats. You know, the prices seem to be a couple of grand higher for a car with the poles, which is mad. I can kind of see it.
So even on the Quattro Sport from the factory, there were still options.
Yeah.
So they had
apparently somewhere, I think on one of the forums they were saying the other day, you could have the aircon deleted.
Really?
Yeah. This has got the CD changer in the back here.
Yeah.
And stuff. So it's still got the, you know, cup holders and bits and bobs. I'm assuming there were factory options.
You think that being a Quattro Sport, it had every option you can imagine on it.
Yeah.
But also, you've got things that are cut out a bit to keep the weight down.
Yeah, actually, I don't know whether maybe, I mean, it's got no sat-nav or on there, so I'm assuming whether you could have that as an option, I don't know.
I think of a Quattro Sport, you don't really care where you're going, do you?
Not
really?
Really, just
as long as you're driving it.
That's it.
The Quattro Sport is a very interesting specimen to Audi car enthusiasts. As Drew mentioned, to the average Joe or Jane, this looks very much like any other Audi TT, even though it's in great condition. But the fiscal value is what really sets this car apart. As with anything that exists in low numbers, they will fetch a premium, but they are starting to be rivalled in scarcity by the V6. However, I don't think anyone can disagree with the stunning looks and condition of Drew's car. Top work, Drew. It was an absolute pleasure for me to have this car in the garden to examine, so thanks once again for bringing it over, Drew. It truly is a cracking car. As an enthusiast, you cannot help but be enamoured with the Quattro Sport. It's a truly great example, and one that I think will bring you many happy years of motoring, with the enjoyment being heightened by its constantly climbing value. If you too would like to feature your car on TT Meets TT, then please do drop me an email at the address on screen now. If you like what you've seen today, then please do give this video a thumbs up, and also think about subscribing to my channel, where you'll find a whole host of content on the Audi TT Mark 1. As always, thanks for watching and see you soon. Take care.